a very casual conversation this afternoon. So my Facebook friends, community clients, I want to thank you for dropping by. And if you're dropping by afterwards on the replay, please type a 1 in the comments so we know you're here. Today, I have a special guest, a good friend of mine. And, you know, they say a stranger is someone you haven't met yet. I met Vuk like literally just a few weeks ago, and already we feel like we're really good friends, right? And Vuk is a real estate agent, realtor right here in Toronto. So let's jump right into it. Vuk, welcome.
Thanks a lot, Gordon. Yeah, it's fun to be here. It's fun to be doing this live with you. And I agree. We kind of kicked it off really quickly, and I think we're good souls, so it happens, right?
Yeah, and you and I have a mutual friend, Jason Batiste.
Yeah.
Right, former Canadian kickboxing champion. He kicks my assets every time I go.
That's it. I'm dripping sweat every morning. Every morning he's got me like breathing and wishing it was done, but it's worth it when you get through to the end.
That's amazing. Look, I want to jump right into this. You are a real estate agent in a hot real estate market right now.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little about yourself and how you got into real estate.
Well, I mean, I started, I went to school. I did the classic route. I went to school. I got a good education. I got a good job. I worked through the ranks, and that savings over time, I put into real estate. So I started with the investing side. A lot of different influences why I got into real estate. I probably don't have a lot of time to talk much about that, but the point is those investments grew my knowledge of real estate, and it got me a lot more interested in that field versus where I was. And I really like the fact that real estate is it's such a multifaceted industry. There's everything. You have law, you have building, you have personal relationships, you have the psychological aspect of why people own real estate, why people buy real estate. Anyway, that's kind of me in a nutshell. I found my niche, or I found my skills there, and I'm excited to meet a lot of different people. That's how I get to know you, right? That's how I got to meet you, because I'm on this path of just meeting and knowing as many people and creating like long-lasting relationships.
Wow, that's interesting. Interesting that you said you started out as a real estate investor first.
Yeah.
Before you became an agent.
That's right.
Did you find that actually helps with with you as an agent?
Definitely, because I've been through it from the buyer side, right? I've been just the buyer. I know what it feels like to go through that process, to lose, to feel like maybe you're being taken advantage of, that kind of stuff, right? So then when you're the agent, now that I'm the broker, now that I am facilitating that deal, it gives me a little bit more insight to be able to reason with this person and say, look, I know how you feel because I've been there.
That's amazing. But I would love to have you come back again on another episode, because I know you've got so much value you could bring, whether it's first-time home buyers or investing in your first condo or building or renovating and so on. Today I was hoping maybe you could touch on one subject that you talked about on Facebook that really caught my interest. And you had talked about in the city of Toronto, how to turn one property into three sources of income. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm referring to?
That's right. The house on paper. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you mind talking a little bit about that for the folks who are watching? Like, how do you take one property and turn it into three streams of income?
Well, first you got to have the will to want to go through that process, because it's not easy.
Wow.
That's the first thing you have to kind of figure out. But I mean, essentially, why somebody would want to go through that effort is to create the best and highest use for a property. And by creating that value, you essentially you give yourself a cushion on what you owe, on what you own, and ultimately that will pay you after you've been through that process. It takes time, and it takes time to mature a property like that. But that one was interesting because it had the potential to be created into something much more than what it was, which is a single family home. And that's
It
what
was a single family home. So I wanted, the folks to clearly understand that it was a single family home. So it wasn't a commercial building, it was a single family home that you
That's right.
started.
Single family home in Toronto, the Lower East Side, East York, and it had a laneway in the back. So that laneway gives you the opportunity to potentially down the road create a coach house. So essentially creating a living unit over a garage that would be accessed from the back by that tenant, or by the person living in that unit. And then the main house would be the first two floors, and then the basement would be a separate entrance from the side. So you're creating density in a city that needs it and needs supply desperately. And so the city officials have become more and more open to it, and they're allowing legislation to be put into place to make that process a little bit easier.
Well, that's amazing. So you took a single family home,
Yeah,
and potentially a apartment in the basement apartment unit. And then you also talked about the garage and the laneway where you turned it into a coach house.
that's the potential that property has. And then to get there, there's a lot of studies, there's a lot of evaluating, a lot of due diligence that has to go into being able to put that plan on paper. It doesn't always work out that way, but this one definitely had the potential. But that's the risk of real estate, and that's the beauty of it, is it's always solving problems. And that's why I really like being in this business, because it's those problems that you can solve that then reward you afterward.
Oh, that's amazing. So for some of my friends who are watching, this is Vuk Dulanovic from Big City Realty. I love that name, Big City Realty.
Yeah. Credit goes out to my broker, Narcissus. He actually got me started. He got me started. He got me started into that agent, into selling real estate, and like the benefits that come from that. So full credit goes out to him. Big City Realty is his firm that he's had for a decade now, and I'm super happy and super glad to be working with him, because he is a mentor to me. Definitely.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So with such a hot market right now, is this still a good time to buy, would you say, from your opinion?
The best time to buy real estate is 20 years ago. The next best time is today. Wow. So that's my philosophy, because over time it appreciates, because you've got a supply demand imbalance. So as long as that stands true, and as long as people need to live somewhere, and interest rates stay where they are, and everything stays kind of as is, real estate will continue to appreciate. That's the way it's been happening. So, is it risky to buy right now when there's a lot of fever in the market? Yeah, it feels risky. And yeah, you need to be careful of what you're buying, because you can get taken advantage of in this market. But if you work with the right agent that knows the market, that can lead you and advise you on the right purchase at the right time, then yeah, you should definitely buy now.
I love it. So what market would you say, what areas would you specialize in? I know you can sell anywhere, right, in the GTA, but is there a specific market that you're focusing in on, or multiple markets?
The focus is definitely geographically on condos within the GTA. Okay. A lot of it is pre-construction, but there's a big resale component to pre-construction, because as you're taking over a unit, you're selling another one. So everybody, once you're in that game long enough, you've always got one or two things going on. So that's a big element. And then investment properties. So whether it's like what we talked about, adding value by creating units, by renovating dilapidated properties, that's where we focus. But honestly, as well, I feel like there's anybody who owns real estate owns it for a number of different reasons, I feel, and so I just love being in it all.
That's amazing. Well, Vuk, thanks so much for joining us. And if some of the folks wanted to reach out to you, what is the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Just online, just my name, Vuk, V-U-K, Dulanovic, and you'll get, you can Google my name and you'll get Instagram, Facebook, website, all that stuff. Well, but Instagram's a good way.
Amazing. Now, before I let you go, I'm going to put you on the spot. Would that be okay?
Let's do it.
I got 3 questions. Okay, 3 questions. I just want folks to get to know you a little bit, right? Who's Vuk Dulanovic?
Okay.
Number one, what is your favorite color?
Like a deep forest green,
Deep.
like what you see behind me.
In fact, yes, I see that. Okay,
Yeah, it just actually that I don't even I just connected that maybe because that's why I see, but that's definitely my favorite color.
amazing. If you could pick a favorite ice cream, what would be your favorite ice cream?
The like the Klondike, not the Klondike bar one, but like in a cone, basically, like with lots of like soft serve with a lot of hazelnuts
Okay,
and like drizzled chocolate. So like soft serve, vanilla and chocolate with hazelnut like spread and some drizzled chocolate and like a nice sugar cone. Yeah.
sounds amazing. Look,
Yeah.
I've got one other question for you, and if you could wave a magic wand right now and do one thing, this is a trick question, okay? If you could do one thing for you, not for somebody else, because I know, as a dad, as a husband, as a realtor who's out there serving others, you're always thinking about somebody else first,
Mhm.
right? So the question is, if you could wave a magic wand right now and do one thing for Vuk, what would you do? What would you do for yourself?
What would I do for myself? I would I would probably give myself an opportunity to be grateful for everything I've done, because I don't really do that enough. And
Wow,
that helps. That helps a lot.
wow,
So I give myself space to be able to do that, like more, I guess, more on a deeper level
yes,
and like cement it in. So yeah.
wow. Gratefulness, right? Gratitude. It's really neat. Is I'm going to give a big shout out to a friend of mine, Lester Bailey, who's actually watching from Phoenix, Arizona right now, Vuk. So you
Hey,
helping
Les.
his fans from Arizona.
Cool.
Lester Vuk, retired police officer. He's actually protected 2 U.S. presidents. Can you imagine? Like
Oh,
if I
nice.
said names, you would know that's Lester Bailey. So when you start your new podcast, he would actually be a really interesting guest, I believe. Uh,
Definitely. Lester, if you're up for it, we'll definitely make it happen.